I will tell you, watching Shedeur, I said it last week, I'll say it again, it reminds me of the Colorado Shedeur. He throws a bad pick. He's not super athletic. He likes to throw the ball down the field. He's not overwhelmed. Again, I don't think he has a special trait. But to get 400 yards, that's a bad receiving core. I mean, it really is a bad receiving core. Titans aren't any good, but I think my take is on Shedeur. He's good enough.
You've been looking at this all wrong for years, and Colin Cowherd just casually dropped a take so wild it made Browns fans pause like they just realized the fridge has been humming non-stop since the 90s. One second everything feels normal, the next he's calmly explaining why Shedeur Sanders isn't just solid.
Who do you give credit to if Shedeur Sanders does well? Because it gets murky. Do you give credit to
Shedeur? I will say this, though. The Browns might have botched the evaluation. It's still very early in the Shedeur experience, but clearly he looks way better than Dylan Gabriel. They might have botched the evaluation. They might have prioritized things that may not have mattered, in the end. Whatever. It's pretty clear it's playing out that they made a mistake.
He might end up being the best quarterback Cleveland has ever had. Crazy? Maybe. Delusional? Some would say so, but what if he's actually on to something? That's where things start getting uncomfortable. The Browns rolled into Tennessee missing 6 or 7 starters, dealing with weather that looked like a full-blown washing machine meltdown, and a special teams unit that seemed locked in on embarrassing itself. Nothing about that setup screamed breakout performance. And yet, right in the middle of all that chaos, confusion, and that familiar Cleveland-flavored suffering, Shedeur Sanders put on a performance that forced people to stop mid-eye roll and seriously ask if they were watching the same franchise. While the Titans were busy being the Titans, which is to say, painfully unimpressive, Shedeur quietly stacked 3 touchdowns, flirted with a near 100 passer rating, and dropped a stat line that made people whisper, "Wait, is Cleveland actually interesting?" That alone should tell you how strange this felt. He finished 23 of 42, which sounds messy until you realize half those throws were aimed at receivers who create separation at the speed of a sinking ship. And somehow, despite all of that, he helped push the offense past 400 total yards in terrible conditions.
Well, for the Browns, I mean, to me, he's better than Dylan Gabriel. So I do think it puts into question, you drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. Because Shedeur, the touchdown he threw to Judy, now granted, the Titans, he's wide open. That drive throw, I don't even think Dylan Gabriel can make it. And there is just some natural playmaker to him. I mean, the touchdown he threw to the tight end in the corner, that's a Colorado-type play.
Yep.
And he does just bring you some more explosive plays.
There's something about this that feels like a hot take 3 days after the best start of Shedeur's NFL career. And by the way, the best start of any Browns quarterback since late 2023.
The hot take is that once Shedeur has this great game, now all of a sudden it's to showcase for 31 other teams?
Yeah.
That's the hot take. The hot take is, wait, we finally got something nice, and now all of a sudden we have to think about getting rid of it? The saving point is the idea that Shedeur, you have 3 more years under contract. You don't have to do anything with Shedeur. All the conversations about trading him, all these conversations about auditioning for 31 other teams.
With Cleveland averaging 6.5 yards per play. Yes, the Browns still lost, because Cleveland never lets anything be easy. But that's not the real story here. The real point is this. For once, the Browns didn't look hopeless. They didn't look lost. They didn't look like a team wandering into the stadium asking why they even showed up. They looked like a team with a quarterback who refused to drown with them, not even for a second. Even when things went sideways, he snapped right back, fired a laser, and treated mistakes like they were nothing more than a warm-up stretch. He's not pretending to be some elite runner, and he's not trying to fake athleticism that isn't there. He's not scrambling around, tossing off balance throws like Cam Ward.
We've seen a couple things that will go along with this thought process, right? We've seen him in the Carolina, the preseason game. It looked like there was nobody happier in the world for Shedeur Sanders in that moment than Andrew Berry. We've seen him even after this in the most recent game. It feels like when you watch Andrew Berry, that is someone he's got more than just I drafted him and I'm invested in him in the success of Shedeur. I've always believed it was Haslam that pulled the trigger.
Well, that said, they might be doing a good job developing him. They might be behind the scenes. They might be decent at that. I know the track record is very murky. We've gone through each and every quarterback, and we've had tons of calls week in and week out that Kevin Stefanski's not good at developing quarterbacks. Whatever, but we've seen sometimes they've had some successes. Like, I thought Jacoby Brissett played some pretty good football
So do you
here.
believe that they're handling him well?
I think now that he's getting the reps, and they might have found a balance.
Former NFL quarterback Chris Sims, what he saw from Sanders against the Titans.
Shedeur was damn good yesterday. There's no doubt about that. Shedeur looks the part to me. He plays big. His arm looks strong. I know he's not perfect at every decision and all that, but I think he's got a great overall feel for the game. If the guy's open, he's going to hit it. The interception he threw was bad. That was his only bad mistake of the day, and I think that led to the Pollard 32-yard touchdown run that might have put them up 21-7.
And to be fair, Cam is the better athlete, no debate. But Shedeur, he stands in the pocket like he paid rent for that space and refuses to move just because someone twice his size is charging straight at him. He wants to push the ball downfield. He reads the field cleanly, and he plays with the same calm, steady confidence he showed at Colorado. That's not accidental. That's a habit. That's the first major thing Cowherd highlights. Shedeur looks exactly like the college version of himself, and that's usually a strong sign a quarterback can survive at the next level. He doesn't rely on one freakish trait. Instead, he stacks several that actually matter. Poise, accuracy, calm under pressure, confidence on deep throws, and the willingness to attack even when his supporting cast looks like it was pulled straight out of a yard sale. Let's be real about one thing though. The Browns receiving group is bad, not average, not hot and cold, just bad. They turn simple routes into full-on group therapy sessions.
So I love people that understand opportunities are not perfect in life in general, certainly not in the NFL, and that you got to figure out a way to make the most of whatever you're given, whatever morsel of opportunity you're given, you got to make the most of it. And maybe that's from his dad, or maybe he just knew that.
Yeah.
But he very much understood that if it went really bad against the Raiders, that might be it. And obviously it didn't go bad, and they won the game, and he played well. And it feels like he's continuing to build on that.
Shedeur Sanders, quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He's been named the starter for the rest of the year. They say he's improved every week since he's been starting, and it's important for him to maybe secure a job for next year.
Here's the problem I have. Irrespective of what he does or does not do, I don't know if there is coaching support, organizational support. I mean, Stefanski, it's almost like spite. And he took him out of the game on the 2-point conversion. I mean, David, yes.
And it's not that they didn't think Shedeur had that kind of a high football acumen, because he does. But he was starting a little bit back further in the process of all the things that you have to do to go out there and play pro football, just in terms of the play calling and the sliding the protections and managing the motions and all that kind of stuff. He just had to get up to speed on that stuff. But he has just gone lightning quick.
The previous offense was so broken, it wasn't even boring. It was non-functional. They didn't turn the ball over much, but they also didn't move, didn't threaten, and didn't feel alive at all. Watching Gabriel try to run this offense felt like watching someone attempt to drive a stick shift using nothing but vibes and guesswork. Every snap looked forced, rushed, and uncomfortable. Then Shedeur walks in, and suddenly everything breathes again. The field opens up, the defense stretches, the ball comes out on time, and the offense actually looks functional for once. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody in Cleveland really wants to say out loud. The Browns drafted the wrong guy. They spent a third-round pick on Gabriel while Shedeur was sitting right there, untouched, waiting for someone to take him seriously. The league didn't want Shedeur, fifth-round guy, for a reason, or so they thought. They saw the Colorado tape and labeled it system, patient, safe, maybe even a little smug toward doubters. But that patience, that confidence, that edge, that's exactly what showed up again, especially on that touchdown to Jerry Jeudy. Yes, Jeudy was open, but that throw still required timing, placement, and a level of calm you simply don't teach in a classroom. That's why Cowherd said what he said. Shedeur is flat out good enough to start in this league, and right now he already looks better than the quarterback Cleveland used real draft capital on.
29 lost to the Titans. In my mind, this was a game that Shedeur Sanders really bolstered his case to show the Browns that he can be their quarterback of the future. Of course, it was just one game, and it's still a small sample size, but he threw for 364 yards, he threw for 3 touchdowns, and most of all, he brought the Browns back at the end of the game with back-to-back touchdown drives in which he went 9 of 10 for 109 yards, scrambled for a touchdown, and then threw a touchdown.
But other than that, man, I really like the way he looked and some of the things. He plays tough in the pocket. Yeah, he holds the ball a little long at times. But all in all, I think he knows his team and knows, what he's expected on the offensive side of the ball, and he made some plays. And that's he's going to make Cleveland think twice about what they're going to do here at the quarterback situation if he can continue to build off of this the next 4 weeks.
Yeah. And again, Shedeur Sanders was named the starter for the rest of the season.
I thought he showed grit. I thought he showed moxie. I thought he showed ice in his veins to stand in against the rush once again and calmly deliver the ball. He's got gamer in him. And I think that's something that you really always can't coach. It reminded me a lot of the good Baker Mayfield days. In my mind, he plays with the same sort of scrappiness as a Baker Mayfield. He can make the off-schedule plays, even though he's maybe not the fastest guy in the world or necessarily.
The Browns didn't plan this. They stumbled into the right answer while aggressively chasing the wrong one, and that alone should tell you how strange this situation is. And honestly, that might be the most Cleveland thing imaginable. But because this is the Browns, progress never comes without a detour straight into dysfunction. It's tradition. This roster has good players, even real talent at multiple spots, and yet they keep losing games in ways that feel less like football and more like creative writing exercises. Just when things start to steady with Shedeur, here comes the storyline nobody asked for. Deshaun Watson might be coming back, because of course Cleveland would find a way to complicate this. According to Cowherd and company, Watson was never fully on board with the Shedeur decision, and it shows. The clearest example? That infamous 2-point conversion. Now yes, technically the play was there, and sure, if it worked, Stefanski would have looked like a genius, but why get cute in that moment? Shedeur was in rhythm, the offense was humming, and the Titans defense looked like it was one snap away from asking for water breaks between plays. That was not the moment for innovation. That was the moment for the obvious call, and the Browns ignored it. Instead, they went exotic, unnecessary, unpredictable, and once again, regrettable, because that's what they do. But here's where Cowherd really nails something bigger. Shedeur has created a Tebow-like effect around the Browns. And no, not talent-wise. Let's be very clear. Shedeur is a far better passer. This comparison isn't about skill. It's about influence, gravity, attention. When Shedeur plays, people care. The energy shifts. The stakes feel higher. The building feels different. The reality is simple. When a rookie looks this much like his college self, things usually work out. When he plays with the same calm, the same instincts, and the same confidence he had before entering the league, that's a sign he belongs. And Shedeur looks like he belongs. He's comfortable in chaos. He thrives with limited weapons. He elevates the people around him. He doesn't need perfection to function, and that's how real franchise quarterbacks operate. Colin Cowherd sees it. Everyone sees it. They just don't want to say it out loud yet. Shedeur Sanders might actually be the best quarterback Cleveland has ever had. Not because he's the most gifted, not because he's the most polished, but because he's the first one who doesn't look swallowed whole by the job. He looks like he owns the job. He steps into the pocket like he's been doing this for 10 years, not 10 minutes, and he throws with an authority this franchise hasn't felt since games were still broadcast in a 4x3 screen. Cleveland doesn't need chaos. It already has plenty of that. What it needs is calm in a franchise addicted to panic. They need someone who can deliver explosive plays even when receivers are running routes with the energy of exhausted mall employees after a double shift. They need a quarterback who can make the offense look functional without demanding the universe rearrange itself just to survive a drive. And Shedeur is exactly that guy. Even better, he brings something this franchise has been starving for. Real entertainment value. Not the bad kind. Not the special teams trying to ruin everything again kind. Real quarterback entertainment. The kind that makes people stay up late just to hear national media talk about Cleveland without sighing first. It's the kind of presence that makes the rest of the league quietly wonder what the Browns could become if they ever stopped tripping over their own shoelaces. Suddenly they look energized. They look dangerous. They look like a team with an actual direction. And when was the last time Cleveland could honestly say that? That's why Cowherd is saying what he's saying. That's why the league is suddenly paying attention. And that's why Shedeur might truly end up being the best quarterback the Browns have ever had. Because the wildest part isn't even the production. It's the poise. The calm, the refusal to panic even when everything around him is behaving like a toddler with scissors. Most rookie quarterbacks walk into the NFL looking like they just got tossed into a freezing pool without warning. Shedeur walked in like he owned the pool, the lifeguard chair, and half the concession stand. Suddenly, Cleveland feels competent. Even the mistakes feel different now. A Shedeur interception doesn't send the entire team into a meltdown. It becomes a reset, not a funeral. He throws a bad pick, shrugs it off, jogs back out, and leads an 80-yard drive like nothing happened. That's not normal rookie behavior. That's star behavior. That's franchise quarterback DNA. And this is where the bigger picture really shifts. When a quarterback changes the emotional temperature of a team, that's when you know something real is happening. Players fight harder, coaches trust more, fans believe sooner. That kind of impact doesn't show up on a stat sheet, and that's exactly what Cleveland has been missing for decades. The Browns didn't just stumble into a quarterback, they stumbled into a culture shift, a tone setter, a stabilizer, a playmaker who doesn't need perfect conditions to thrive. The league is noticing, not because of hype, not because of manufactured headlines, but because Shedeur is doing the one thing nobody thought was possible in Cleveland. He's making the Browns look like a real NFL team, and if he keeps playing with this level of command, this much fire, and this much unexpected brilliance, then Colin Cowherd's take won't sound bold anymore. It'll sound obvious, because the best Browns quarterback might not be a legend from the past. He might be the guy doing it right now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with another Browns fan who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more NFL stories you won't hear anywhere else.